in the world outside of video games, buildings have to be compatible with tedious things like building regulations and the observable nature of space and time, so as not to collapse or shatter our fragile perception of reality. In the worlds inside of video games, on the other hand, planning permission goes out the window, along with the kind of mundane geometry that says a level has to make any kind of physical sense. Take a trip with us now through these 7 impossible locations that couldn't exist in the real world, and beware a few spoilers for the following games.
Artie?
Did you miss me?
I think we can all agree that the oldest house, the headquarters for the Federal Bureau of Control in Remedy's control, isn't going to be winning any considerate workplace awards anytime soon. It's lit like a funfair haunted house, full of weird objects and creepy monsters, and watch out when pulling light switches, as they sometimes teleport you to an extra-dimensional budget motel for some reason.
Whoa. Have we been here before?
This is probably going to put a dent in my ability to file those TPS reports, is all I'm saying. Still, I suppose it doesn't really matter, because the only actual employee I ever run into is the janitor, and he seems to be dealing with problems of his own.
There be work for the axe. Take them behind the sauna, jumalauta.
Not only that, but the oldest house doesn't even obey the most basic laws of three-dimensional space. You tell me how this fits in a Manhattan city block. By far the most mind-shreddingly non-Euclidean piece of office design in the whole place, however, is the so-called ashtray maze, here fittingly illustrated on the map as a giant redacted scribble. Thanks, map. The ashtray maze is an enormous reality-bending labyrinth full of impossible geometry and, it has to be said, gorgeous vintage styling. With its shifting walls and twisting corridors, the ashtray maze is actually impossible to navigate the first time you go there, and any attempt to traverse its illogical hallways will have you spat right back out where you started, your melon well and truly twisted, man.
Bro, contact the janitor if you need to get through.
Broken? How many dead ends can this place have?
To make your way through the maze, you need an object of incredible power from one of the Federal Bureau of Control's most senior and seasoned employees. That's right, you need the ancient Walkman from the weird old janitor who looks like David Lynch.
Take my cassette player. You can borrow it. The song is a present from my friends to you. It will get you through the maze so you can do your job.
Now you can finally move on through the maze and, as a bonus, you're now soundtracked by in-universe rock band The Old Gods of Asgard, whose music makes an excellent backdrop to levitating and killing people with force powers. Almost makes up for the fact that it's totally impossible to find a bathroom in this place. Almost.
The Penrose staircase is an imagined staircase that loops around and connects with itself in a way that suggests someone climbing it could climb steps forever without getting any higher, like a non-Euclidean stairmaster. Good for your cardio, but geometrically impossible. Much like the staircase-loving Dutch artist MC Escher reproducing the Penrose staircase in some of his most famous work, the architect behind the Mushroom Castle in Super Mario 64 recreated these infinite stairs for the royal dwelling of Princess Peach. Which is great news for readers of the Mushroom Kingdom Architectural Digest, less so for Mario himself, when he needs to get past the big star door and all the way up the steps to meet Bowser for a decisive confrontation. The problem being, as described, however fast Mario pumps those little legs, however many stairs he masters, at any point he can turn around to find that the bottom of the staircase is still only a little way below him. How do these endless stairs even fit inside the Mushroom Castle, which, although grand, is not infinite stories tall? We just don't know. What we do know is that if Mario collects 70 power stars, the endless stairs will convert to a conventional finite staircase and reach the final level of the game. And about time too. In this house, we respect the laws of Euclidean geometry.
Pathologic is a deeply strange horror RPG that takes place in a small town in the grip of a mysterious plague.
The cause and circumstances of these tragic events remain uncertain.
Yeah, like I said, mysterious. As you wander around the town, you'll see plenty of inexplicable oddness, but nothing so odd or inexplicable as the enormous tower looming over the town from across the river like a spiky tornado. Given how much of the town is composed of ordinary-sized buildings, this colossal, gravity-defying edifice known as the Polyhedron does draw the eye a bit. But only when you make your way over there can you see how it looks to be built from actual paper. Get closer still, wending your way up the paper staircase to the ostensible entrance to the Polyhedron, and you'll notice that the sheets of paper used in building the Polyhedron appear to be design plans for the building itself, which, I'm no architect, but seems to me an extremely dicey material for constructing a lopsided mega building. If it starts raining, they're screwed. Shows what I know though, because once you're warped inside the structure, it turns out the Polyhedron has 1,000 children inside it having a fine old time. Or at least as fine a time as anyone is having here in this accursed plague town.
Why are they acting so girlishly?
As if it didn't already contravene the known laws of physics, the Polyhedron also apparently looks completely different to different people. Where most adults see the walls as mirrors and you see recycled documents, the children living inside it don't see the walls at all.
Yeah.
Frankly, even if it is somehow structurally sound, this place creeps me right out, which is why my preferred ending will always be the one where the army smashes the Polyhedron into paste with a cannon bombardment. Sorry, kids.
At first glance, the hallway in which you spend almost all your time in PT looks pretty normal. Sure, it's a little dimly lit and someone could probably run a vacuum cleaner around the place, but otherwise, it looks like something you'd see in any suburban condo or downtown apartment. When you get to the door at the far end of this L-shaped corridor, however, you start to realise that things aren't quite as they seem. For a start, walking through the door takes you back to where you started, only now, things have changed subtly. And by subtly, I mean terrifyingly. Things escalate from here with the ghost lady and the fridge full of blood and of course, the talking paper bag. Good to see you again.
The gap in the door. It's a separate reality.
Always nice to chat. One of the most unsettling things about PT, however, is the way that the layout of the hallway both shouldn't exist and tells a chilling story of its own. For a start, the constant looping around this impossible corridor shows that for you, the player, there is no escape. You're doomed to repeat the same cycle over and over again, stuck at 1 minute to midnight with the radio broadcast seemingly on loop, tuned to Family Murder FM.
Then in December last year, a man used a rifle and meat cleaver to murder his entire family.
A subtler but even more distressing detail is that the corridors are not all on the same level. As you reach the end of a corridor loop, you descend a small flight of stairs before exiting through the door that brings you back around to the beginning. And so with each loop of the PT corridor that you do, you're going deeper and deeper, further down, away from the surface, away from the light, and, you'd have to assume, towards the Earth's molten core, which contains a surprising amount of horrible, breathy ghosts. You know what? I'm kind of fine with the fact that this never became a 15-hour game. I don't think my nerves could have handled it.
This blade is yours.
You know, I've learned some new tricks.
I haven't had this much fun since, the last time.
Let no one say that Planescape Torment isn't an immersive and enormously influential 1999 role-playing game with nearly as many critical plaudits as it has lines of text. At the same time, it's tricky to show you exactly how bizarre and alien the location in which the game is set is, because for all its cult classic status, Planescape Torment is less of an audio-visual spectacle than it is a compelling narrative experience based on reading a lot.
Done.
It helps to know that this video game in which you play an immortal known as the Nameless One is based on the Dungeons & Dragons campaign setting called Planescape, which is made up of a multiverse of strange and intersecting dimensions. Planescape Torment is mostly set in that multiverse's city called Sigil, a kind of interdimensional nexus that is also a giant donut floating over an infinitely tall spire, as you do. Given this is a game with minimal cutscenes and a fixed isometric perspective, in-game views of this giant floating donut are as hard to come by as shirts for your immortally hench character. But trust us when we tell you that Sigil is a huge rotating donut shape inside which citizens live on the inner surface. Weirder still, the streets move around as they feel like it, and, as is fitting for an interdimensional hub city governed by strange and unknowable forces, Sigil is full of hidden and shifting portals that link it to other dimensions that you may or may not want to accidentally stumble into. If all that didn't make the city of Sigil as tourist-unfriendly as possible, let's not forget its acting mayor is the descriptively named Lady of Pain, a 15-foot-tall hovering deity who can make cuts form all over your body by looking at you. Piss her off, and then we'll see exactly how immortal you really are.
A chantry is a local gathering place for those of the Tremere clan. I live here, as do apprentices from time to time.
In the world of Vampire the Masquerade, each vampire belongs to a clan, and that clan determines their vampire powers.
A regent is the leader of a chantry, as well as a teacher to young Tremere apprentices who are studying the mysteries of our clan.
In that vein, the Tremere are a clan of vampire wizards who have neither the beast mastery of the gangrel nor the sexual allure of the Toreador, but they can do magic spells, like big nerds. Toreador for life, baby. At any rate, early in Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, you receive a letter with an enigmatic riddle inviting you to the Tremere Wizard Clubhouse. Sorry, the Tremere Chantry. When you make your way there, you find the Chantry is an old building in downtown LA, totally discreet and unremarkable, except for all the purple magic happening on the top floor. I see you up there, you bunch of Gandalfs. On entering, you find that Tremere blood magic permeates even the corridors of the building, contorting the dimensions of space itself to lead you where you're meant to go, and prevent you from getting anywhere else inside this mystical sanctum. Because whichever twists and turns you take through the maze-like corridors, you will always wind up at the door of Maximilian Strauss, Tremere boss and professional Morpheus lookalike.
Greetings, neonate. Might I assume you received my invitation? I have been looking forward to meeting you for quite some time.
This is all fine and good, except if on your way back out of the building you take a wrong turn, the shifting corridors will spit you out in front of Strauss again. Hello again. Don't mind me, just trying to leave. Awkward. If you're not a member of Clan Tremere, this will be as much as you ever see of the mysterious space-warping Chantry, aside from this one room full of books. Ugh, classic them. That's because the Tremere don't allow non-members access to the luxurious secret haven upstairs. Except they hadn't reckoned with a little magic spell called No Clip. Not nerdy if I do it. I'm a cool Toreador.
The milkman's dead? Ah, crud.
Burned up in a department store fire. Didn't you hear? At least that's what the media would have you believe. Is he dead or not? Go to the graveyard. Dig him up. Oh, you'll find something all right. But it's neither man nor milk.
What does it look like inside the mind of a conspiracy theorist is a question that I'm sure we've all asked ourselves. Recently, even. Possibly after an awkward family dinner with a weird uncle. Well, if 2005 Psychonauts is to be believed, the answer is a normal-looking neighbourhood that's been twisted into a kind of impossible suburban Mobius strip that I'm pretty sure we're going to fall off the second we set foot on the sidewalk.
Now, how am I gonna find some creepy graveyard in this nice, normal neighborhood?
The premise of Psychonauts is that your character, Raz, is able to jump into the minds of different people and experience their psyches firsthand. Throughout the game, you end up in minds that resemble a 70s dance party, a velvet bullfighting painting, and of course, a circus made of meat. You know, the classics.
Okay, The circus I remember from my childhood was definitely not made of meat.
The Milkman conspiracy level, however, takes place inside the mind of Boyd Cooper, a former security guard and conspiracy theorist whose paranoia has populated the neighborhood with sinister G-men posing as blue-collar workers.
Being on a road crew is arduous, but rewarding.
The real mind however, comes in the form of the level's brain-melting layout. Hanging in empty space, the level twists around itself and gravity acts seemingly as it pleases, with walls becoming floors and vice versa. Honestly, I can't make heads or tails of this place. Maybe my conspiracy theorist friend can shed some light on where I should be going.
That book came from the book depository. They must want to make us think that's where they want us to go. Because they think we'll think we know they know we know. So we won't go.
So I shouldn't go to the book depository?
Of course you're going to the book depository. Take the sewers.
Well, I don't know what I expected.
Well, friends, those were 7 impossible game locations that truly couldn't exist in reality as we know it. We hope you enjoyed them and that your brains are sufficiently intact to enjoy this next video, also from Outside Xbox. In fact, why not subscribe for a video a bit like this one, but not this one, every single week? If you subscribe and hit the bell button for notifications, then you'll know every time a new video like this is out and about. We win, you win, everybody wins. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.